Hello and welcome to this edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio, bringing you the news. I'm Harshni Pathirana. Let's start off with your headlines.
News First headline.
Iranians mourn President Raeisi martyrdom as funeral ceremonies begin. Sri Lanka observes a day of mourning. Financial literacy key to alleviating poverty, says Sri Lanka's central bank chief. Diana Gamage granted bail after court appearance. How Indian cops arrested 4 ISIS terrorists and who were planning attack in India. And in your sports headlines, world record by Sri Lankan at Kobe Para Championships. Now on to your top story tonight. Millions of people have taken part in a massive funeral procession for Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and his companions who were martyred in a helicopter crash in a remote mountainous area of Iran's northwestern province of East Azerbaijan. Now the funeral ceremony started this morning and drew a massive crowd. The mourners marched alongside the coffins draped with the national Iranian flag in the northwestern Iranian city of Tabriz. The participants shouted slogans to pledge allegiance with leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid al-Khamenei, as well as the principles of the Islamic Revolution, and vowed to stand firm against enemies. Now another funeral procession for President Raisi and his companions is scheduled to be held in Iran's north-central city of Qom, which hosts the holy shrine of Hazrat Masumi, on Tuesday evening, and the funeral and burial ceremony of Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi on Thursday noon at the holy city of Mashhad. Meanwhile, Iran announced it will hold presidential elections on the 28th of June, following the martyrdom of President Ibrahim Raisi and his entourage in a helicopter crash on Sunday. Sri Lanka is observing today as a national day of mourning due to Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi's death. People visited the embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran in Sri Lanka to express their condolences over the death of the Iranian president and the foreign minister. And moving on to more local stories, Sri Lanka's central bank, together with the UNDP, launched the country's first financial literacy roadmap of Sri Lanka. The UNDP said that around 30% of the Sri Lankan population were debt for essential needs like food, medical care, and education as a result of the economic crisis. This is what resident representative of UNDP, Azusa Kabuta, had to say.
As part of data from the Multidimensional Vulnerability Report, recently launched by UNDP in collaboration with the Oxford University, shows that more than half of the Sri Lankans were reported to be multidimensionally vulnerable, and close to 70% of them had to reduce at least one meal a day to cope. And amongst all of the 12 indicators composing the MVI, the highest contributor to the vulnerability is the indicator related to household debt. 33.4% of the Sri Lankan population experience vulnerability and deprivation in debt-related indicators, including getting into debt for essential needs like food, medical care, and education, as well as pawning jewelry and selling household items. In light of the economic crisis that continues, it is highly probable that individual debt situations have deteriorated, consequently resulting elevated deprivations in the debt indicator since the data was collected in 2023. To substantiate the MVI findings, I heard from the communities that often the lack of financial literacy amongst the borrowers, particularly women-headed households, contribute to their vulnerability. Women often were forced into signing agreements in a language that they did not understand. They did not know the rights and responsibilities, nor the terms of borrowing. In the absence of basic financial literacy, they were often forced into poor financial decisions. So I hope every Sri Lankan will be a busy bee and wise honey at the end of this program.
Now, Dr. Nandala Veerasinghe, Governor of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, speaking at the event, emphasized the critical role of financial literacy in shaping informed decisions and promoting economic well-being.
Financially inclusive and literate individuals make informed decisions about savings, investment, and borrowing. They are more likely to understand the impact of monetary policy decisions that we take and respond appropriately in line with the monetary policy stance, contributing to effective policy implementation. That's one part how that is linked to central bank objective. Key objective. Secondly, financial literate consumers will make informed choices and will demand an efficient, transparent, and responsible culture from financial institutions, largely that we regulate. More importantly, financial literacy can support reducing our indebtedness, alleviating poverty, and breaking poverty traps. This is also an issue that we have been seeing in Sri Lanka. We are over indebtedness because of the lack of financial education and literacy, and that will also help alleviate poverty and people to come out of the poverty. In the long run, this will reduce the burden on the government-funded social security program.
The Financial Literacy Roadmap of Sri Lanka, developed for the first time in Sri Lanka, provides evidence-based guidance to all financial literacy stakeholders to move towards a single policy goal, which is improving the financial behaviors of all Sri Lankans and advancing their financial capabilities. And now moving on to more local news, the Colombo Chief Magistrates Court ordered the release of former State Minister Diana Gamgee on bail after she appeared before the Colombo Chief Magistrate this afternoon. Diana Gamgee appeared before the court regarding the incident of obtaining a passport by presenting false information. Yesterday, the court ordered to name former State Minister Diana Gamgee as a suspect in the related charges. Colombo Chief Magistrate Thilina Gamgee made the order considering the facts presented by the Criminal Investigation Department before the court regarding her yesterday. Meanwhile, the Attorney General had instructed the Criminal Investigation Department to take action under the Criminal Procedure Code regarding Diana Gamgee. And on to your last local story tonight, 4 ISIS terrorists were arrested in Ahmedabad yesterday, days after the city airport received a bomb threat. The terrorists, believed to be Sri Lankan nationals, were arrested by the Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad after a tip-off. Giving details of the operation to arrest the 4 ISIS terrorists, police said multiple teams were formed after the officials received the information that the suspects were planning to travel to Ahmedabad to carry out terror attacks in India. Vikash Sahe, Director General of Police in Gujarat, said these 4 terrorists had boarded an Indigo flight bound for Ahmedabad from Chennai yesterday. The arrests were made after checking the list of passengers coming from the southern region and getting their identities confirmed by the officials in Colombo. Police said the 4 men had been in touch with a man named Abu in Pakistan through social media. Now, Abu had encouraged them to carry out a terror attack in India. They were so radicalized that they also agreed to suicide bombing, and Indian police said that Pakistani resident Abu also gave them 400,000 in Sri Lankan currency. Police said after scanning their mobile phones, they found photographs of some weapons and location data of Nanachilora near Ahmedabad. The ATS later recovered 3 Pakistani pistols and 20 cartridges as indicated in the photographs near the same area. The weapons were wrenched by their Pakistani handler. They were also communicating with the ISIS leaders through Proton Mail, an end-to-end encrypted email service.
Sports News.
And now taking a look at your sports news this hour, Sri Lanka's Samit Dulan set a new world record in the men's javelin throw F44 category at the Kobe 2024 Para-Athletics World Championships. He also won silver in the F64 category. In the F64 category, he recorded a distance of 66.49 meters. The gold medal was won by Indian athlete Sumit with a final distance of 69.5 meters. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Yes 101's Visual Radio. Bringing you the news, I'm Harshni Patirana. Thank you for watching and good night.